My high bike like is my favourite bike because it does everything. Jumps, urban free ride, downhill, uphill, tricks, you name it. Today I'm going to explain why this bike has not only changed the game, but is most likely the future of MTB. Apart from being out on your bike and all the things there is to love about that side of our sport, the mechanical side of what we actually ride is something that I find super interesting. Bikes have developed such a long way over the years to the point now where they're all different shapes and sizes suited for different riding styles. With that all being said, I believe that the high bike like might be the very bike that is driving the future for MTB evolution. Today I'm going to be putting this bike to the test. It's the bike that I've ridden the most over the last 6 months or so, and I actually have a list here on my phone of a few things that, if it can handle them, would make it the perfect bike, therefore changing the game, therefore shaping the future. Before we do the first test, let me just tell you a little bit about the bike. It is a high bike like 11 carbon fibre frame, 29-inch wheels front and rear with 140mm of suspension travel. It's powered by the FUTURE Ride 60 motor, which has 60 Nm of torque, and that is powered by the 430 watt-hour battery. It's a lightweight e-bike and it weighs around 18 kilograms. Hitting jumps is one of the things that I enjoy the most when I'm out riding, and luckily the like is really good when you're in the air. This jump is called ski jump because you can go massive on it. You can go massive on it. Oh, the bike's so good, it jumps like a hardtail. I've ridden big jumps on this bike, and I've also ridden smaller technical ones where it's difficult to carry speed, which is usually an area that full suspension bikes struggle. However, this bike has dealt with all of the different jumps I've ridden perfectly. As far as jumping's concerned, I would actually say that this bike is perfect. 140mm might be a bit small on massive jumps, but 99.999% of features that you'll come across, this bike will handle it absolutely perfectly. The lightweight nature of the bike combined with the short travel is a match made in heaven. The suspension is stiff enough to carry speed, but also there's enough there to absorb the heavy landings, and it's light enough to throw around in the air, but also heavy enough to be stable when jumping, which also gives you confidence, especially in windy conditions. On the flip side of jumping, we have got aggressive terrain, which is like what you'd find on a downhill trail or even a stair set. We're going to give these stairs a blast at full speed. Here we go. Oh! They're pretty aggressive, them ones. Phew. That was awesome. You can't beat a stair set send. And you might think that despite the fact that the bike is so good at jumping, when you ride aggressive terrain, it would be terrible. But thanks to these two switches, you can go from the bike being soft to firm really quickly. 140mm of travel is quite short for aggressive downhill riding, but with the 29-inch wheels, this compensates nicely and it really eats the bumps up. Combine that with the weight of the battery, and this loads the bike's suspension up perfectly, making it so much smoother than a 140mm travel bike should be. The bike is, however, stiff enough to carry speed on the trail, which I think is really important, because there's nothing worse than putting a load of effort in and feeling like you're not going anywhere. I've ridden this bike on some pretty gnarly, steep and technical downhill trails, and once again, it's actually difficult to find a bad word to say about it. Obviously, if you had slightly more than 140mm travel, it would be smoother on some of the really rough sections, but then you're going to compromise your jumping and your rolling speed. So as an all-rounder, it's actually the perfect mix. When I think of 29-inch wheels, the first consideration that comes to mind for me is how playful is the bike. A 29-inch wheel handles the bumps better, however the trade-off is that it's generally less playful and harder to do tricks on. Right here, we've got ourselves a little trials line, and that is going to provide the perfect test to see how manoeuvrable the bike is. Handles it with ease, and the same goes for tricks. It's hard to believe that this is the same bike that I was riding down a mountain on, as you can do tricks on it so easily, which just makes it the dream. Final thing is climbing, which it does super easy because it's an e-bike, and don't be fooled by the lightweight nature because it's got some serious power. Check out this wheelie which I did up a stair set.
Yo! These are.
The battery life out of the 430 watt-hour battery is obviously slightly less than something that had, let's say, 720 watt-hour. I've been out for some big missions on this and I've never flatted a battery despite being out all day and climbing a mountain. The bike's kicking out 60 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot of power, and it means you can shred the jumps and the downhill tracks but then uplift yourself back to the top. You can also carry this bike on your shoulder for those sections that are unrideable when climbing. This bit here that we're on is so steep that we've resorted to hiking with the bike. The reason that I think that this bike is the future is because it does everything really well. It rides like an enduro but has a motor. It looks like a normal mountain bike but it has a battery, and it even jumps like a hardtail and does tricks like one too. And if there's any questions about how strong the bike is, then check out these two massive cases, which this is actually still the same bike. Oh! I engine cased it!
Oh my god.
Two big cases. What do you think of this bike then? Let me know in the comments below. I would recommend to anyone to get out there and get a test ride on one of these, because I genuinely believe this is the future of what mountain bikes are gonna be like. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, leave your comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. I'm like an addict, ooh, I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a